We're back for you guys with Germany against Denmark arriving very, very shortly. A quick update on the situation. A communication service broke down entirely and forced both teams to rely on a different service. So they're going to switch software and they're going to get back in the action. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had a little bit of time to contemplate and think about the draft. The draft will continue from where it started, from where it stopped, excuse me. Who had the better approach so far, or is it too early to say anything like that?
So far, if we just go by what has worked in this tournament so far, Denmark have all 3 of the top picks. It looks scary.
Denmark have what I would call the most standard of openings. They can do literally anything with their last 2, and they have a very solid base. Germany doing something very weird with the Tyrael Brightwing.
Yeah, the ultimate boss control combo.
Yeah.
But the question is it what they need to win the game? It's hard to control bosses if you lose everything else.
Yeah, very true. But so far in this tournament, whenever teams try to play standard against Team Germany, it more often than not didn't work for them. So maybe the German team has found another way on how to surprise and catch their opponents off guard. Right wing, that should be a Tyrael then now.
Yep, Tyrael, and then it is ETC.
Yeah.
And M2, different skin, reapply skin plus. Nice. But Greymane, ETC, and Rhaegar, and we are up to date.
Here we go. Now things are going to get really interesting. Yes. What kind of ban can we expect here? If they really were to pick the global assault Morales strategy, then they could maybe ban another global, maybe something that can arrive, maybe that's good at defending.
Something with a Mule, potentially. Mule can be a very solid and unfortunate counter to this particular style. Usually on Sky Temple, though, nukes can make the Mule a little bit less viable. Yeah. And yeah, Abathur would have been will be the option, as he's the only one with Mule.
Okay, they go for the gold den. Does that tell us something, Bakery?
I'm struggling, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't
it's really hard.
Doing.
I thought you could help us out.
Yeah, we are quite confused. There is the Abathur.
I'm afraid I'm not clairvoyant.
They banned the Abathur themselves, even though it would have been the Mule option, so they're scared about a potential clone of whatever goes in for an all-in style.
I mean, these next 2 picks are definitely going to bring some light into the dark that the German team unfortunately has cast upon us.
So
the Lost Vikings are still sticking around.
Yes, they are. There's a potential for them here. And the Lost Vikings and Brightwing is actually quite a fun combo, because it allows Brightwing to be in any lane at any time if you just park a Viking behind the gate.
Yeah. And her healing is not limited to a certain number of targets nearby, so all the Vikings in their teamfight could potentially benefit from it.
How to pad numbers with Kendrick's Wish.
She could also have the lowest teleport cooldown you've ever seen.
Very true, with the level 1 talent.
All right.
Yeah. And are they actually just planning on playing standard boss control?
I mean, Cassie is definitely not standard.
Yeah, like, less than standard with just, well, this is not a standard draft. And Zarya, they have so much boss control. Expulsion zone as well.
This is starting to look like some form of push strategy.
Yeah.
Zarya, very well known by Cassie. He was in the last series, so I'm not sure he's going to be playing it for Germany, but definitely a push strategy, I think. That's what I'm feeling.
The world record is on this map, and it involves a Zarya, currently held by Roll20 from the American regions, with 5 minutes and 12 seconds. This is quite the solid comp if it was for pushing, although is Cassia really the amount of damage you'd want to go for that push strategy? It does deny counter push.
Does it actually have a lot of resemblance to the Roll20 team comp from back then? I mean, the Zarya
Lily was in that comp.
That could be a Brightwing replacement, basically.
Yeah, I can't remember who else. Tyrael, I think Tyrael was actually in it.
I think so too. Yeah, maybe they did some research over the big pawn. You know?
Yeah. Exactly, taking the American strats.
I'm completely lost here. So Denmark pulling out a standard move that we used to use in Team Dignitas all the time. Volstad is the traditional anti-cheese hero. He has a global, he's a ranged hero with decent damage, he's good against Lost Vikings and Abathur, of course, and he also has Gust. So Volstad, a very solid pick, and good move from Denmark, taking a step back, resetting and looking from an outside perspective.
So you were calling the Vikings the entire time here, and they do in the end come out. So what are you thinking about this draft? Do you still think it is a push strat with potentially Vikings soaking other lanes?
I would expect that's what's going to happen, yes. So you have Brightwing, who is good at these slow pushes. Cassia, who again is good at these slow, 4v4 lanes. Zarya, who again is very good in these slow 4v4 lanes, but also fast pushing. So I'd expect to see Germany stack 4 of their members in either the top or bottom lanes, and to try and force Denmark to respond. The good news for Denmark is they do have that Falstad, who can do a fantastic job against the Lost Vikings in a solo lane.
And don't forget about voting, guys. Which draft has convinced you more? Let us know by dropping a hashtag DKWin in favor of Denmark, or if you think the Germans are going to take it, hashtag DEWin, or whatever platform you're using to watch us. So, how about you guys? I mean, the German team, once again, likes to play things differently, likes to play things off-standard. Denmark, as Bakery said, trying to put the standard comp against the Vikings. Who do you think is going to take it?
Germany are on the map they wanted, with a comp that they obviously have prepared, because they went all in on it with very little consideration for anything else. I'm going to believe in the Germany have a plan. I'm going to wait to see it through, and I'm going to believe in Germany.
I'm going to believe in Dreamy and, of course, Youngbeck from the Danish side. I think they can do it.
All right, let's find out who's going to take it. We are being deployed to the Warhead Junction. And on the left-hand side, I'm going to introduce you to my German team. It is Born on that Tyrael. We've got Brain on the Zarya. Mings plays the Cassia. Nunia on the support on the Brightwing. And, of course, the Vikings are being played by Ribby.
Whereas on the right-hand side, it is going to be Team Denmark with Youngbeck on the ETC. Nyman is playing the Greymane, Valnot on the Rhaegar, Dreamy is playing that Falstad, and Arthas, chilling in the bot lane, is going to be played by Dizzy Dwarf.
All right,
and the tower.
And this is exactly the play we were expecting by the German team, but look how well prepared the Danish team is. There is no escape when the Danish sandwich gets you.
Regrets are abound for Team Germany as they get thrashed, as Ribby is in full retreat as well, because Dreamy not only did he pick up the kills, he also rotated. That was a 4 versus 4. Arthas didn't miss any XP in the bot lane, and Denmark just absolutely destroy the first minute of this game.
Once again, keep in mind, in order for Denmark to make it to a 3-way tie situation, they need to win 2-0. If they drop one map, Germany and Hungary are going to advance to the quarterfinals. So this start means so much for them. The Danish team, I think, is very momentum-based. They have a lot of good players, and they need a good performance right at the get-go.
A half-level lead almost for Denmark in the first minute and a half of the game. They are looking super solid, but now we start to see what this comp is made for. The very aggressive pushing, consistent shields from Zarya and Tyrael as they continue to put pressure onto the towers. They've only got one so far, though.
In the meantime,
defend value, though.
Yeah, absolutely true. Like, as long as the Viking team doesn't have a 1-level lead at least, I think the Vikings haven't really been valuable in the early game. We're going to find out how that is going to work overall. The German team, relentless, trying to push on the top lane. In the meantime, we see 2 Vikings holding their own against Falstad and 1 in the bottom against Arthas.
Falstad is playing very far back in lane. He looks like he may want to fly up for an attempted gank if his team are able to make the play. The nuke is available. Falstad flying in behind. The kills. The blind is good. Brain is going to get focused down the fence. It's not Dreamy, though, as ETC also goes down. Nyman will barely escape here. 2 for 1 in favor of Germany.
A lot of AoE damage coming in by Mings on the Cassia. The charge strikes were unleashed, and what looked good for the Danish team there in the beginning turned around brutally against them, unfortunately. And this top lane now, with a nuke potentially being planted by Born on the Tyrael, could fall very rapidly, Tencher.
Arthas is having a pretty miserable time, honestly, in the bot lane. He really wants to pick up that nuke, but he's against Eric and Baylog, and they keep poking him from range. Unfortunately, they can't really pick up past Arthas either.
And this is Ribby. This is a classic Ribby for you. He's probably one of the most awkward players in the Nexus games, in a positive sense, though, because he picks those heroes like the Vikings, like the Lucio, and he plays them like nobody else does.
He really doesn't, and like you said, no one else does. Viking Bribery and Mercenary Lord, which I think might have a different name for him, but I'm not 100%. It does the same thing, buffing those mercenaries, and seeing as he can have mercenaries in every lane, he can put on so much pressure in the lanes while his team continues to 4-man top.
So far, all the Viking... Yeah, rip Eric. It was good knowing you.
Good strat here. If Arthas is having too many problems, let's send Falstad. And we do see the nuke picked up by Denmark, and they even killed Balog for good measure. They can now nuke this bottom 4 and attempt a counter push.
Definitely true. I think with the help of that warhead, this all of a sudden could go very well for the Danish team. They inflicted so much damage, didn't even waste any damage there. The Sender was being used on top of the fort directly for maximum damage output. Now, how is Team Germany going to react to that? So far, they're sticking true to their plan. Top lane only, it is Nyman. And the rest of the Danish team, they really need to defend this. So far, they've been doing pretty well. Are they going to get the bottom fort? Yes, they did.
We are now 1 minute and 7 seconds away from the world record time, and Germany are not yet at the keep wall. They were able to take down the fort, so we're not going to see any world record-setting attempt here by Germany, but they are still very even on XP. They managed to catch back up as Boss attempt very early coming in from Denmark. Balog will scout this, but can they react? And
I'm not
will
sure.
they react?
I'm not sure if Germany even wants to react here.
They could take the other boss.
Yeah, they could go to the opposite side of the map and start the top boss because the fort has already been taken there. So both lanes, both bases actually are going to be pressured really hard because on neither side will there be any more forts and towers to stop the boss and buy a little bit of time. And this is an awkward situation, Tetra. 1 nuke on the German side, 0 on the Danish.
Yeah, this has the potential of turning into an absolutely terrifying base if this game continues to go how it is. Right now, Eric is attempting to clear the bot boss. That will take approximately forever. Whereas the rest of the German team are moving in with that nuke, like we said.
Absolutely, the mercenary camp helping out here as well on both sides. This is basically a mirror match if you want to compare top to bottom here. The red Danish boss already knocking at the base here, and only a few Vikings are defending, as you said. In the meantime, Nunia, Born, and the rest of the German team are trying to make something happen, but the Danes are prepared. The defense is standing.
They are holding the defense quite nicely. Neva Timber level 10. Nuke being used in advantage. Interrupted by the face belt, but Youngbet took a lot of damage to be able to do that.
All right, the gate is down, the towers are soon to follow, but the nuclear assault for now was stalled, and the German team needs to retreat.
That's a big deal. The fact that Youngbet was able to interrupt that nuke, meaning that so far those bosses actually got equal value.
Isn't it crazy? Like, this game already promises to be quite explosive in the most truest of senses. Okay, level 10 is here. The German team will pull even relatively soon. We see the stage dive.
Okay. Looking for Braid. Stage dive, like you said, is available. But we do see Germany. They were able to pull back very far, and Denmark not able to punish them.
Let's take a look at the German level 10 talents here. The Emerald Wind, Sanctification, Expulsion Zone, Play Again, and Lightning Ball. That's what we're seeing here.
Too late for Rhaegar to stop Olaf from picking up that nuclear missile. Braid moving on to Arthur's. Gas having to be used, but now everyone is grouped up around Arthur's. Beautiful power slide. The expulsion zone is zoning them away, but Brightwing already dead. As we do see the counter kill onto Arthur's. Youngback going down as well. Braid finally finished off with the Ancestral onto Nyman.
It's an absolute bloodbath, a 2-for-2 trade, but the Vikings are still continuing to wreak absolute havoc in the bottom lane. A nuke has been dropped. The mercenary camp was stolen, and keep in mind, Mercenary Lord is active.
Yes, it is. Balog with that mercenary camp, putting pressure onto that bottom lane. And the Vikings are just being an absolute menace here in this fight. And Denmark, you saw the fact they were able to go in so deep there, they were just trying to make something happen, because the longer they wait to do so, the more the Vikings will be able to do stuff like this.
The Danes were able to win the team fight, but in overall global map pressure, the German team didn't give in. The bottom lane was proxied, the mercenary camp was stolen, and a nuke had been dropped as well, and all of a sudden that fort in the bottom lane is completely isolated. But I really got to give credit to the Danish team. It is not easy to deal with the Vikings on Warhead Junction, but they've been doing a wonderful job up to this point. 2-1 actually in favor of the Danish team when you count nukes.
Exactly, and they're continuing to put some pressure onto the bot lane, clearing up the mercenaries, forcing ports out of Team Germany, who would have loved to have been pushing another lane right now, but instead they have to come back and defend.
There's going to be a lot of weight on the shoulders of Tyrael and Zarya. The disengage needs to be good here. Actually, Zarya absorbing some of that nuke damage to get herself good energy.
Okay, good gun. That guarantees the keep.
That was well played.
Can they get out? Here is the opportunity for Germany, but a beautiful route by Arthurs, and that will get Denmark out of here. Very nicely done. The Vikings still gaining value elsewhere, but Denmark grabbing the first keep of the game is a big deal.
Yeah, that is a very big deal, Tetra. Not just in terms of XP, but more importantly in terms of map pressure. That is going to open a lot of possibilities for the Danish team. The Vikings weren't even participating, though. They were stealing yet another Firebat camp in the bottom. They were doing a lot of soaking, and despite losing, you know, way more structures now than the Danish team, the XP count is still favoring the Germans.
Yes, the Danish team once again moves in for mid-fort.
Ribby
Escapes the false stand, as we do see the German team doing a similar strategy, clearing out that bottom fort. There is very little of it left. They do have a nuke of their own. Looks like they also want to try and grab themselves a keep.
Yeah, absolutely. Born carries the one remaining warhead that is still available for the German team. They're trying to get rid of the tower line. Look at the Danes, though. They don't even want to think of clearing this on defending this. They're going for the middle.
I'm not sure how much I like this right now for Denmark. The fact is, this nuke is going to get the keep much quicker.
I'm not so sure, Tetra. They can already go forward.
Yeah, Germany moving straight. Sorry, Germany not able to move on to the board due to no keeps as Denmark begin to race down the court.
I think that's it.
And that is it. They are destroying their way through that. Emerald Wind and the Expulsion Zone not going to be enough. Just a good measure. And that is GG. Denmark with the calls at the end of that.
Absolutely. That call was so well executed. They just had enough of all that Viking split soak, split push pressure. They were like, you know what? We just destroyed the bottom keep. We're going to end this right here, right now.
I forgot about the bottom keep. I thought they would just go for another keep. If they go for the keep, that was a terrible choice because they were in that situation of the enemy team had a nuke. They could have potentially raced onto the core, but the bottom keep was already gone, and Denmark just went straight onto the core. Germany were far too late with their ports, and it was GG.
And I think Germany didn't have it in mind either. I think they were also banking on the fact that Denmark would take things maybe a little bit more indecisively, a little bit more slowly, but the Danes, cool and collected, ended the game in style.
So we were speaking about Vimi's strength as a shot caller, and it shows yet again for the Danish team here.
Yeah.
And that's Warhead Junction, everybody. Anyway, so my replays, I'm going to get straight into the first two because they're quite connected. So, as we spoke about, we knew Germany would push, and Denmark is already waiting. Before they've even been on the tower for a second, they are here in the top lane. Instant slide onto one, and here's the big change, okay? Look at Brain. He does not get enough time. He almost kills Veigar alone, but because they all started at full HP, it was very easy for them to kill him before he could trade back. But as we roll into clip number 2, here's what's different, is they do not start on full HP. So as we roll it forward, we see Zarya starts out. She gets a huge amount of energy already, and then feel the heat at level 1 hitting 3 people right now.
Oh my god.
And they do kill Zarya, but the amount of damage she was able to trade out, and also Minx with that Cassia charge strikes, was absolutely insane. And that was the big difference.
All right, so that was not the way Germany wanted to start this series. Keep in mind, if the Danish team wins 2-0, we're going to be in a spicy tiebreaker situation here.
Yeah, and that was the Germany map choice as well.
Yeah.
That is bad news for Germany. They are now in a situation where if they want the guaranteed going through situation, they have to win this next map.
Now, our next replay is going to be that crazy core rush, so we can see it all over again. Let's roll it forward. Okay, actually, it's the team fight on top lane. So this is the big team fight. So Arthur's already taking a ton of damage. The Gus hits them all into the corner. It's an Arthur's on 4 people. We've seen this before. We know how well that goes. He is, of course, going to go down. Zarya trading huge amount of damage back onto the ETC, actually getting the kill. But when Brightwing goes down that fast, without being able to use Emerald Wind, and Tyrael did not have the mana for Sanctification that entire fight, which was the big decider.
The Gust also interrupting the Emerald Wind is a pretty big deal. Could have given them the disengage chance for that Sanctification, but so many things went wrong for Germany in that team fight.
And we talked about the Danish team being a momentum-based team with so much raw talent, and now also a really strong leadership by Youngbeck and Dreamy. I really thought that people like Nyman, they have never performed this well. You could really see the comfort zone stepping in, and by no means was that an easy team composition to play against. Now, gentlemen,